Welcome back to Honesty Box. I bet you never thought I'd be back. I am here on my own, as a recent Instagram post will have hinted to you. Steph is currently too busy, and I again sounded so sarcastic when I said that, but that is not what I meant. I didn't mean to sound sarcastic. She genuinely is ridiculously busy and is saving the world one patient at a time, being a nurse that she is. And she's doing a great job. So I'm doing this purely because I am unemployed and need something to do without frying my brain, because I am still ill, as you would have noticed. Well, as anyone who'd listened to the last episode, which was months ago, knows that I have been diagnosed with arthritis. I still have that problem, so I can't actually get out the house, and the fact that we're in another lockdown means I couldn't have anywhere to go anyway. So I need something to entertain myself with, and this is it. And you guys are going to have to put up with it if you want to, or just don't listen. You know, that's an option too. So the format has changed slightly because there's no one for me to bounce off of. There's no one for me to discuss important and unimportant subjects with. So I'm going to sit here and read you some wholesome content that I found on the internet. Things that you might have seen on the news, or you might not have seen, or things that are in the deepest darks of Reddit or wherever else, that are, I think, quite nice, and are just, they're just calming, they're just relaxing things that you can find out and enjoy. And it's not just going to be news stories, it's going to be things like Instagram posts from celebrities and influencers and those kind of people that I just thought were quite sweet or quite nice. They're not a reflection on the person as a whole, they're just a reflection on what that particular post made me feel. So that's that. I suppose I should share some personal wholesome content. Yeah, that'd be good, I guess. As you can tell, I'm winging this as I go along, so good luck. I mean, the nicest thing that's happened to me since the last podcast, I guess, not the nicest thing, just something that came to mind when I'm thinking of, little things that make you go, oh, isn't that nice? Nothing that's no one's bought me a house or a car or anything. When I can't drive, so that'd be ridiculous anyway. But so I had a Christmas card from our next door neighbours, which was quite nice. Something I wasn't expecting. Then felt really guilty because I hadn't given them one. But I wasn't expecting one from them, so I don't really think they were probably weren't expecting one from us either. But they were. I've spoken to them maybe. We moved into this house last year, and I've spoken to them maybe 5 times in the last year. It's not like we go around there and say hi or anything. I don't even actually think I know their names, which is really bad. But it's okay, because on the Christmas card it said to Hannah and hubby, so I don't think they knew Lloyd's name either. I don't feel quite so bad about not knowing theirs. I mean, they know 50% more of our household's names than we know of theirs, but that's not the point. So that is my personal wholesome story. It's very small. It's not much going on because, lockdown. So let's get to the first thing that I have found, which I wanted to share with you. And this is honestly the first thing that came to my head, actually, when I thought of doing this episode. I don't know how many of you follow The Rock, as in Dwayne The Rock Johnson, on Instagram. If you don't, and you have Instagram, I would recommend it, because he does post some, mixtures of truly outrageous meal plans. Obviously the man's on a gym diet, as evidenced by his The Rock bod. And the things that man eats are just insane. I have an appetite, but he could. It's impressive. It's really impressive. But other than that, he also posts some really sweet, wholesome content, which I thought might be nice to share some of it with you. Some of you might have seen it, some of you might not. The first one that I have to share is a post of him and his daughter, and it's honestly the sweetest little photo you've ever seen. His daughter is, let's have a look, 2 years old, and she sat on a little chair with a little toy in her hands, and she looks terrified because behind her is The Rock doing her hair, being a hands-on dad, playing, you know, playing toys and doing his little girl's hair. And I just think it's really, really sweet that this big hulking great big man, which is presumably why she's so terrified, is because, you know, he doesn't look like he could be delicate, and he's playing with somewhere that's quite, you know, if you pull too hard on someone's hair, it hurts. I am not surprised that she looks a little bit terrified. There is a second picture where she doesn't look quite so terrified, and The Rock look is like properly into doing his little girl's hair. He's concentrating 100%, and it is so sweet that I thought I had to share it, because and it's the first thing that came into my mind. So the comment that goes with it says, now despite my 2-year-old looking completely terrified for her life that Daddy is solely responsible for getting all the painful tangles out of her hair, scroll left and you'll see the calming energy, exceptional hair skills and extraordinary patience that Daddy, aka Mr. Golden Hands, puts on full display. It's so sweet. He also adds at the bottom, I may be bald, but I know a thing or two about hair, mainly because I wish I had it. And it's just so sweet, this image of a big burly man doing his little girl's hair. I thought it was adorable, so I thought I'd share it. Everyone go and look at it, and just everyone go, oh, at the same time, because it's so sweet. He also then has a follow-up post, a couple of posts later, which is just funny, because it's a picture of The Rock holding his little girl while she does a wee. And she's obviously like, they're obviously out on a walk or something, and she's got caught short, and it happens to everybody. It's all happened, but I can't say I've ever had, I don't think I remember my dad ever having to hold me while I weed. So the comment that goes with it says, when they gotta go, they gotta go. Baby Tia said she had to pee, so we said, no problem, honey. You have a diaper on, pee, and I'll change it after. She refused to go in the diaper, I don't blame her, and asked if she could pee on the grass. Sure, we're on private property, so Daddy takes it to pee on the grass, but then she decides to renegotiate again, I don't blame her, and demands Daddy pick her up because doesn't want to stand on the lava monster. So I have to hold her while she pees all over my new white sneakers. And you know, this being The Rock, that those are really expensive shoes. And it's just a really sweet image of a dad being hands-on, and just his face is just one of, here we go, the life of a father. Like, it's really sweet, and it's nice to see a dad out there being, like I say, hands-on with his daughter, and just, you know, doing all the things that dads do when they have to, because when your kid's got to pee, your kid's got to pee. You can't blame her for not wanting to go in a nappy. I mean, it's pretty gross. But if you think about it, if you really actually think about it, it is pretty gross. So, good on The Rock. And that's my first bit of nice news from the world of celebrity. Next, we're going to be heading over to pupils' pizza donation leaves Stoke-on-Trent nurses in tears, which doesn't sound very positive, but, you know, we all know this is wholesome content. I'm not going to be putting anything out there that's making anyone stressed. So let's read the article. It's from the BBC News. And it says, a nurse said she was lost for words after school pupils clubbed together to buy pizza for staff at the local critical care unit. Tina Waltho tweeted a photo of pizza boxes which she said turned up this week in the Royal Stoke University Hospital. A bit of investigating revealed they were a gift from a group of sixth form students. The tweet prompted a huge outpouring of praise on social media, rightly so, because sixth form students, as we all know, they're not the most outwardly thinking people in the world. Like, I know when I was 17, it was all about what's going on with me. It's not much to do with anyone else. But I would say a millennial and Gen Z do seem to be a little bit more outward conscious, which good on them. We all could all do with being a little bit more outside of our own bodies. That doesn't sound right. That sounds like we're having, like, you know, lucid dreaming. Anyway, the post continues to go on and says, at a time when healthcare staff feel so low and deflated, responses like this remind us that we are supported. Critical care nurse Miss Waltho said. The nurse who had been in charge on the day shift was in tears. She had barely eaten all day and was a little emotional, which is so sad that these people are out there saving people's lives, literally. And she had barely eaten all day. They should have enough time to stop and, regroup, have a lunch break at the very least. The article continues. Miss Waltho's post has been retweeted thousands of times, with some people saying they would copy the student's example. Another wrote, "What an amazing gesture. The next generation makes me proud." Absolutely true. They seem to be coming up in, whoever's dragging those kids out, they're doing a good job, because they're, it's not my generation doing it, so I don't know whether it's the one before, but the teenagers these days are much nicer than they used to be. I mean, kids are still a nightmare, don't get me wrong. They're always going to be a nightmare, because it's just part of, hormones are a ball. They really are a ball ache, so it's not going to be a good time generally, so you can understand why people are introspective during their teenage years, but it's nice to see that not everyone's the same. Anyway, next article is from the Express and Star, and the headline says, "Magician says business is booming in lockdown," which is quite funny. I quite like that a magician you would think would be more of a face-to-face kind of deal, because pick a card, pull a rabbit from a hat, all that kind of stuff. You'd think it would lose its impact over Zoom, perhaps. But and as someone who would, I would be thinking, can you record these performances and then rewatch them and see how they did it, and then you're revealing a magician's code then. So it's a dangerous game, but maybe some people are quite happy to just watch the show and not worry about how it's done. But I've watched too much Darren Brown, and I want to know how it's done now. It's all sleight of hand, isn't it? It's all just moving things a bit too quickly for people to see. As someone who's completely fat-thumbed, I'm just in awe of people who can do it, to be fair. Article says, a professional magician who saw his bookings vanish at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic said, stumbling over the word pandemic, considering, it's the only word that's been on anyone's mouth for the last year. Oh, ridiculous. Anyway, said demand for his online shows has soared during lockdown. Darren Delaney said the past 3 months have been the busiest ever period, despite only being able to perform remotely from his homemade studio in Lewisham, southeast London. Since April, the 44-year-old has performed more than 200 shows, which is a lot since April. Especially considering that most of those are probably in the last 3 months, considering he said it's the busiest he's ever been. And it says to audiences all over the world through video conferencing platforms like Zoom, with clients including web giant Google and investment banking firm Credit Suisse. The full-time magician of 6 years said he made the switch online after the first national lockdown in March caused bookings for his face-to-face shows to just disappear within a space of a few days. That must be terrifying when you're relying on this one income, and then this guy's got to be a pretty big deal if he's getting, if he's got Google as a client. But yeah, I can't imagine he's some just part-time purveyor. But the fact that his income's just completely disappeared overnight, basically because everyone's in lockdown, and yeah, magician's not a key worker, absolutely not, but he still deserves to make a living, and it's a damn shame that he couldn't have done it. But he has, obviously, he's pulled himself up, so good on him. Mr. Delaney told PA News Agency, I was scrambling around at the time thinking, how can I cut my living costs? What have I got in the savings account? Because I have no idea when I would work again. Then a friend who works in the telecommunications industry messaged me to say, do you think you can do magic on video conferencing? My first response was, I can't see how that will work, which is what my first response would be, because, I have very little imagination, so I just wouldn't be able to see it working. And then shortly after, I had contact from a client of mine asking if I would do a show over Zoom. A show over Zoom. It worked surprisingly well, so that was the start of it. Mr. Delaney, whose repertoire includes cabaret-style close-up and table magic, performs live through Zoom and is able to interact with his online audience in real time via a laptop, but he has had to adapt some of its tricks to suit the new format. Magic Circle member said, "What I realised very quickly was that there are some things I do in real life that I can't do online because they rely on me borrowing something from somebody, or there are some tricks that are only impressive if the props can be examined, which isn't impossible on Zoom. I've had to adapt some tricks. I can't have you pick a card on Zoom, but I can ask you to name a card, for example." I like the use of in real life. I enjoy that. Like, yeah, it's not real life, is it? Pandemic life. Mr. Delaney, who has been performing magic since the age of 9, said bookings has increased significantly during winter as companies looked for COVID-friendly entertainment for their Christmas parties, with clients coming from around the world. I think that's great. I just think that's really good that he's, first of all, it's using your initiative to sort of mend those tricks and make them viable for over a Zoom conference call. That takes a little bit of nous, doesn't it, to sort of think, well, I can't do my normal show, so why not adapt things a little bit? And obviously he's been doing it since he's 9, so he knows all the hints and tricks. I mean, I knew a kid when I was in school who did magic at the age of 9, and all I can think now is, I wonder if he'd have stuck with it, if he'd have been, some famous magician and performing for Google or whatever. Like, it's just, you never know where your life's going to go, I guess. I wonder if he always thought, oh, I'll be a magician one day, or if he just did these tricks as a little hobby and ended up sticking with it. I don't have any hobbies, so I feel quite proud of people that have like hobbies that they make I guess this is my hobby now, isn't it? Talking to you lot, rambling on recordings and not being able to say the word pandemic for some reason. But yeah, also reaching international audiences as a magician, I bet they never thought that was going to happen. I mean, when you're a magician, you work like weddings and events and stuff, and you generally, I'd imagine, stick to your local area. So if this guy's in where, Lewisham, so he probably does around London, and there's big businesses in London, but you don't think you'd ever have a guy from Japan sitting in on your conference call while you did a magic trick, would you? Like, when you're 9 starting out, like, fantastic, I love it. Anyway, there is more to the article. It says so it's a quote from him. It says, November, December, January, and now I'm booked up for February have been the busiest months I've ever had since I've been doing this. In December, I don't think there were any days I did less than 4 events, and there were a couple of where I did 7 in the same day, which wouldn't be possible in real life. Again, real life. It says in brackets pre-lockdown. Yeah, there's a couple of quotes from a couple of other magicians who've been doing it as well. It's saying it's been everything from family shows to high-end corporate gigs, and I think the power of Zoom is that people from all over the world can watch. Brilliant. I love it. Anyway, that's a nice bit of magician news for everybody who didn't know they needed it, but now they do. There's another COVID-related one. I promise not all of these are going to be COVID-related. I know the last 3 have been, but I'm hoping to find some that aren't, because it does get a bit boring just listening to nothing about just people just constantly talking about it, isn't it? It's just, there's nothing else on anyone's lips. And I understand it's obviously a big deal and, it's affecting everyone's lives, but come on, I want to just hear some wholesome news that's got nothing to do with COVID. Which anyone, by the way, if anyone does have nice things that they want to tell me that have happened to them in their lives, email us. Our email address is thehonestpodcast@outlook.com. Just send a quick, even if it's just like me with the Christmas card from my next door neighbour, just send something in to me like that and I'll read it out. And it's just nice. It's a nice little thing for people to hear that, there are people out there that are doing little things, nothing that costs you a huge fortune or that takes a lot of thought, but which are good. Or even if it's things like, oh, my dog did something nice this week, or I had a nice text message from someone. Like, that's all the kind of stuff I want to hear. Just nice things that are happening in the world at the moment, and stuff that's, making you feel better about everything. I don't want to hear about, oh, this person's done this to this person. I want to hear nice things. Anyway, next article is again from the Express and Star. And its headline says, woman who lived through Spanish flu pandemic gets COVID jab on 108th birthday. Whoa. First of all, making it to 108, good on you. I mean, there's a picture of her on here. And my nan is 80 and I don't think she looks any older than my nan. So, you know, and she's a good 28 years older. So let's read the article. It says, a woman who has lived through 2 world wars and the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic has received her coronavirus vaccination on her 108th birthday. Marion Dawson, believed to be the 3rd oldest person in Scotland, was vaccinated at the church she attends in Houston, Renfrewshire. Oh, that's not a word I've seen before. After receiving her Oxford AstraZeneca vaccination, she said, I'm glad it's passed. I never felt a thing. Oh, which her arms are dead skinny. There's no meat on her arms at all. So if she doesn't feel anything, then hopefully with my fat arms, I'll be fine. Then she says, Mrs. Dawson from Houston was born in 1913. Jesus. She was vaccinated by Dr. Diane Fisher at Houston and Killeen Kirk, which is being used by her GP surgery to deliver COVID-19 vaccinations to the local community. Dr. Fisher, a partner at the Strathgriff medical practice, said, we are so excited to be starting our vaccinations for over 80s population here in the church within the heart of Houston, which I didn't know there was a Houston in the only Houston I know is Houston, Texas. Presumably that's from people emigrating over there, creating a new Houston. So maybe Houston's got a lot of Scottish people. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, heart of Houston, and our first patient to be vaccinated is doing so on her birthday. So it's a really great start to our campaign. Yeah, that is good. That's a nice little thing. I don't think it's yeah. I think I'm sure there are people that are going to have opinions on that, given that she's 108 and receiving a vaccination when people who are much younger than that could have a much longer life. But that's not for me to say, and this is not the place for it. So let's have a look. Anything else? Let's have a look at this. We've got one from the Belfast Telegraph. So it says, a Scot who vowed to revolutionise the wheelchair wins $1 million back-in. How cool! So he says, Andrew Slorance, and oh god, why can't people just be called Smith? Andrew Slorance is, and it's spelled Slorance, so I'm going to say Slorance's intelligent wheelchair triumphed over competition from around the globe. A Scottish innovator who vowed to revolutionise the wheelchair as a teenager, god, that's a lofty goal, has won $1 million to make his dream a reality. Andrew Slorance, 51, from Nairn, Scotland, saw off competition from the US, Japan and Toyota's Mobility Unlimited challenge with his Phoenix Eye wheelchair. The intelligent chair automatically adjusts its centre of gravity to ensure the user can be agile and stable at the same time. The competition from Toyota Mobility Foundation and Nesta Challenges was launched in 2017 in an effort to encourage innovation in assistive technologies for those with lower limb paralysis. How cool that exists! Like a competition to get innovation in the world of disabilities. That's great. I didn't know that existed at all. Anyway, efforts from other finalists included a smart wearable simulator that uses artificial intelligence to support muscles at the right time, while exoskeleton technology was exhibited in a number of entries, which is a bit futuristic for my liking. That's a bit too close to Iron Man exoskeleton technology. Although I guess Rhodey, which one was it, Civil War, he has an exoskeleton thing to help him walk around, so that's quite cool. I wonder if it's like inspired by these people, like the Marvel saw it and took it. Anyway, Mr. Lawrence broke his back when he was 14 after falling from a tree. He said his early experience motivated him one day to make a wheelchair a more desirable item. I remember lying in the hospital. This is a quote from him. I remember lying in the hospital bed in Aberdeen, and an occupational therapist came in, and And she wheeled in a wheelchair up to my bed. She said, "Andrew, I've got your new wheelchair for you. I hope you will agree it's a rather nice example." I looked at this thing and I thought, "You've got to be kidding, right?" The first day I went out in the wheelchair was without a doubt the worst day of my life. Oh, I felt completely immobilised because the thing was so big. I suddenly realised everybody was looking at me in a way people had never looked at me before. Fairly soon after that, I swore that if no one else did it, one day I would revolutionise the wheelchair to make it desirable, high-end tech that actually gave you real advancement in life. With his company Phoenix Instinct, I love that. Like, that's a great name for a company. Like Phoenix, like rising from the ashes, I guess, and then Instinct, like, brilliant. I love that name. It's a great name for a company. So with his company Phoenix Instinct, the Scotsman went about creating the chair that he hopes will do just that. The Phoenix Eye's ultra-light carbon fibre frame aids manoeuvrability, while the chair features a powered braking system which detects when the user is going downhill, managing the descent automatically. That's incredible. 5 awards of $500,000 were given to finalists in January 2019 to develop their prototype devices, while the $1 million prize money that Phoenix Instinct had secured will go towards bringing the company's innovation to market. He says, "I nearly didn't do it of the competition. I just thought, I haven't got a chance in this, a little company in the north of Scotland. And I thought, no, this is what you do, Andrew. You have to do this. It's a competition made for you. Your wheelchair is the world's first perception of you, and that thing looks awesome and high-tech that puts forward a positive perception. We live in a time when our fridge freezers can be smart. I can tell us the milk has gone out of date, yet the wheelchair is the thing you actually need every day of your life, and it's still got the technology from 1984. This is a game changer." That's incredible. I love that so much. He's not just thought of this as how can I make my life easier, but how can I make everyone with that, lower limb disability, how can I make life easier for them? Like, that's just pure. And Phoenix Instinct, great name for a company. I love the name of that. Well, I hope that he gets to create this brilliant piece of technology. And there is a picture of it on the article, which is, again, it's on the Belfast Telegraph. So if you want to see it, go and have a look. And it does look, I mean, when you think of a wheelchair, they are a bit clunky looking, but this thing looks like futuristic, like Professor X's wheelchair, like you can imagine him wheeling around in it. So yeah, I'm well impressed. You go, guy. So I'm going to go one more. I think I'll do one more, and then I thought I'd end it on a funny note, but anyway, I'll do one more and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this one is from CBC, which I think is an American news network, and it's from November of last year. The headline says, "Winnipeg veteran helps man who stabbed him change his life," which is, whoa. You've been stabbed by someone and you decide to change their life. Like, incredible. So let's read the article. So it says, it starts with a quote. It says, "It was right here." It says Johnny Michael. I'm going to say Michael because it's Meikle. So I'm going to say Michael. "By then we were already grappling all over the ground here. Johnny Michael and Devin Henderson are standing near a bus stop on Main Street in Winnipeg. Henderson asked Michael to bring him here to show him the place where he stabbed Michael 2 years ago. Henderson, 25, doesn't remember what happened. He was blackout drunk the night the two met on the bus stop, but a lot of people do. It made headlines. Michael, 31, was riding the bus with a friend when Henderson got on, dressed in gang colours, and sat near them. Henderson started harassing other passengers, pulled out a large knife and said he was going to stab the other passenger in the neck. Michael, a trained boxer and veteran who served in Afghanistan... Oh my God. Imagine that. You come home from Afghanistan and then you've got a guy threatening you with a knife on a bus. Like, you must be like, well, what? Anyway, Michael, a trained boxer and veteran who served in Afghanistan, intervened. He fought with Henderson, trying to get him off the bus, and to disarm him, Henderson stabbed him in the leg during the scuffle. All Henderson can remember is snapping out of it in the back of a police car, handcuffed and covered in blood. "I was like, what happened?" says Henderson. "Did I kill someone? I was scared." "You would be." As Michael was wheeled past on a stretcher on the way to an ambulance, he saw Henderson's face in the back of the cop car. He saw past the intoxication, the gang colours, and the fact that the 24-year-old had just stabbed him. He saw a young man who needed help. Oh. In the days that followed, Michael was hailed a hero. There was a lot of media coverage and he was presented with awards for his actions, but he couldn't stop thinking about the young man in the back of the police car. There was more media attention, but they were so focused on the hero story, says Michael, who started to see that as problematic. With every hero story, you have a good guy and you have a bad guy, and nobody ever wants to know about the bad guy. I got very curious. I wanted to know what his story was. What a thought. I mean, I would just be like, get rid of that man, like get him out of my face because he just stabbed me. But this guy, God. Michael was determined to find out. He was there in the courtroom when Henderson faced a judge and shared a powerful victim impact statement. He asked for a sentencing circle for Henderson, hoping to avoid a 6-year sentence that the Crown was seeking. He asked to visit Henderson in prison and wanted to build a relationship with him. It had only been a year since Michael himself was in prison, battling addictions and suffering from depression and anxiety. Well, I guess that gives you more of a perspective on other people if you've had those issues yourself, you know. He had turned his life around with the help of rehab and community support. Now he's studying the community development at Red River College and volunteers with several community organisations. In March, inspired by his new relationship with Henderson and his own journey, Michael started Strengthen the Circle, a grassroots support group for Indigenous men to focus on healing from trauma. That's incredible. I didn't realise they were both Indigenous. That puts a new spin on things, I guess. Because you don't know what they've been through, do you? Compared to other people. So it says, Strengthen the Circle follows the Indigenous medicine wheel and meets several times a week for activities that target the mind, body, spirit and emotional well-being of the members. They hold sharing circles where men come to talk to each other, encourage each other and work through the hurt and anger they carry. That's incredible. That's really a brilliant cause, because we all know men don't talk enough about how they're feeling, and if it can avoid events like this where someone gets stabbed on a bus, then it's a good thing. There's no way that can ever be seen as a bad thing. The fitness crew meets 3 times a week for workouts, often running through the streets of Winnipeg with their flag and going live on social media, inviting people to join them. They do ceremonies, volunteer with the Bear Clan, and have got medicine picking together. They swap books to learn more about the history of colonisation and their Indigenous heritage. It's all done without any outside funding, so Michael and the other team leaders are constantly meeting with community organisers, trying to make connections and grow their circle, all in the hopes of breaking the cycle of violence, addiction and anger they see in their community. That's why, on the day Henderson got out of jail, Michael and other leaders in strength in the circle drove to pick him up from the correctional centre. I wanted that to be the first thing that he sees when he gets out, family and community, and just showing that we're ready to support him, says Michael. Oh, how nice. It's the first time I've met guys who want me to do good. Oh, who don't want me to do negative things that will wind me back up in jail. It just feels good. I finally have a family. Oh, that's so lovely. It goes on there to say, to tell more about the 2 guys. So it says, Henderson has never known this kind of support. He went into the care of the child welfare system when he was just 3 months old. His mum was just 14 and addicted to drugs. His father was just a few years older and addicted to alcohol, and both were descendants of residential school survivors. Residential schools, if you don't know, I think they are where a lot of Indigenous families, a lot of Indigenous kids were sent to be... The only way I can put it is rehabilitated, and to basically just breed the Indigenous out of them. They were terrible places. They tried to get rid of the culture of the Indigenous people. Really just caused a huge amount of trauma for the people that were in there, because they were taken away from their families and friends and everything they knew and put in these brainwashing camps, essentially. And they were treated awfully. If they're what I'm thinking they are, they were treated incredibly terribly in these places. So it's incredible that anyone came out of there without... Well, obviously they've ended up with trauma, because he wouldn't have stabbed someone on a bus. But so he said he's lost track of how many foster homes he's lived in. His thick correctional case file says there are more than 75, but Henderson says it's more like 100. Oh, hopping from one place to another. It's just going to do you no good, is it? I hated that feeling, like having to go with a stranger pretty much every week, said Henderson, who was also bullied at school for being a foster kid. Kids are cruel. We all know kids are cruel. After reading his case file, Judge Heather Pullen, who presided over the sentence circle in February 2020, said that the system had failed Henderson. He never had a chance from when you were a baby to grow up to be a fine young man we all know you are capable of being. It's hard to argue with her assessment when you read that when Henderson was 9 years old, a foster parent made him try crack. Jesus. He says they wanted to see what it would do to a kid. He was terrified and remembers crying while they laughed. Why? How are these people able to foster kids? I have no idea. By age 12, Henderson was using drugs and alcohol every day to cope, and he had a lot of anger. He was arrested for the first time when he was 15 for beating up another kid in a mall. He spent the next 10 years in and out of prison for robbery and assault. He was often homeless when he was out and involved in 3 different gangs, both inside and outside prison. People in gangs have similar backgrounds like me, says Henderson, who told the Sentencing Circle he joined gangs in prison for protection. Before, I used to think this was what I got to do to survive, you know? But now things are different. Henderson has severed ties with the former gangs and now has a whole different kind of support network. On the morning of October 23rd, Henderson was released from the Pass Correctional Centre. Michael and members of the Strength in the Circle group drove to the Pass, pick him up and bring him back to Winnipeg. A round trip of 12 hours. The reunion was an emotional one. I'm a big hugger, laughs Michael, and I knew that was long overdue. Since that day, Henderson has had a lot of firsts. He wore a suit for the first time, given to him by Strength in the Circle member Jamie Felix for a photo shoot the group had organised. He has taken a placement test and registered to finish high school. He has turned down invitations from old friends to go drinking and instead gone grocery shopping for the first time without stealing food. Oh, and there's a picture of his, what I think must be either his Facebook or Instagram, and he posted the picture of him doing the washing up, and it says, one of the best feelings. How nice. Oh, there's the small things you don't think of, I guess. He says, I don't see myself coming back to jail. I've been told everybody says that, but this is my first time I'm saying this. Michael and the other members of Strength in the Circle hope to help other people like Henderson. They want to help heal the unresolved trauma that many Indigenous men carry, disrupt the child welfare to prison pipeline, and reduce recidivism, which I think is recidivism? I think that's when you go back to prison. And the high rates of incarceration among Indigenous men. Imagine if everyone that stepped foot out of jail, imagine if that's the first thing they came into was family, love and support. There's a lot of Johnnies out there. There is a lot of Devons out there. And if we can change the narrative for one that shifts towards healing, we can create so much change in our community. As part of their healing, Henderson and Michael went back to the bus stop where they first met 2 years ago. Imagine 2 years ago how we were to now, says Henderson. You're my big brother now. I feel like I forgive myself. Oh, that's important. We've come a long way. You've come a long way. We can do so much and we're brothers forever. You're stuck with me, laughs Michael. The 2 men offered tobacco and prayers. They hugged each other and told each other they love each other, and they joined with the other members of the circle of support. Oh, that's such a lovely story. Imagine in that moment when he was being stabbed and he was in pain and stuff like that. Imagine instead of going, I want nothing but vindication for this, or I want someone to suffer for this. Instead of that, you look at it and go, you look at a man in the back of a police car who's obviously suffering, and you go, yeah, I need to help him. Like, that just takes some mental strength that I don't think many people have, and I cannot help but just commend that man, like Johnny Michael. I cannot help but think that he's a guardian angel for that other man, because that's just, so many people would have let him, someone that stabbed them, they would have just let them rot in prison, but no, he wanted to help him when he got out. It's just unbelievable. I really hope that that he doesn't go back to prison, he doesn't relapse or anything. I really hope he has just a good life from now on. And I'm a bit emotional now. That was really, it was really lovely. If anyone wants to read that story, because I fumbled my way through it. It was on CBC, cbc.ca, if you want to go and have a look through it. Oh, lovely. Anyway, I am going to end on a silly note, I think. It's the best way to put it, really. Okay, so I've got a way to finish the episode, which is a little bit silly, to be honest with you, but I didn't really know how to finish and close it out. So I just thought, why not do something that I want to do? Because, you know, this is basically what this is about. So, 2 ways I'm going to finish this. First way is I'm going to read my weekly horoscope. And I am a Virgo, so if this is relevant to you in any way, I hope it gives you some advice. Now, as a little bit of forewarning, I don't fully believe in horoscopes. I think astrology as a whole is bunk. But I do quite enjoy it. I think it's a bit of fun, and I don't think it harms anyone. So why not mess around with it? It's quite funny. And sometimes you do get good bits of advice out of it. They're not necessarily specific to you because of your star sign, but I do think they are, you know, they're good bits of advice just purely by accident almost. So first things first, I'm going to read my horoscope. Then second thing, I'm going to do a BuzzFeed quiz, and it's going to be a weekly thing, I think. I'm going to do, and my horoscope will be a weekly thing as well. We're going to do a horoscope and then a BuzzFeed quiz, because who doesn't want to know what type of potato they are? You know, it's fun. Everyone needs to have a little bit of fun, and let's just enjoy it. Also, if you want to have your horoscope read instead of mine, because you're not a Virgo and you feel like, you know, I'm a Taurus, I want to have my horoscope read, why are you not doing mine? I want you to send me an email as to why you need your horoscope read this week. Are you having a tough time at work? Has someone said something which hasn't, you know, is your health playing up? Is it a matter of, or maybe you've had a promotion, or you've got a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend or a new partner? Just, I think you should email me. Again, the email address is thehonestpodcast@outlook.com. You should email me, tell me why you need a horoscope this week, and I will read your horoscope instead of mine. But if you don't give me a good reason, I won't do it, and it's just going to be about me. Anyway, so weekly horoscope first. So this is from week of the 1st of February to this February the 7th, because we are on February the 7th right now. So it says, the first week of February becomes quite hectic for you when Venus enters Aquarius and your sector of work and routine on Monday. Your habits or carefully laid plans could turn completely upside down. I'd like to note that I am unemployed, so the amount of hecticness that can happen when you're unemployed is a lot lower than anyone else. So I don't think this is relevant to me. Your skincare routine could get completely out of whack, or you might have to take on more responsibilities, like becoming a caretaker in a relationship. Unexpected events could also disrupt your money flow. What money flow? In any case, you'd better hold on tight. It's going to be a wild ride for the next couple of weeks. If you say so. This doesn't seem relevant to me at all. They've not hit the buzzer anyway. It doesn't get much easier for the rest of the week. On Saturday, Venus conjoins Saturn to bring even more unpredictability into your life, especially in the area of love and finances. To cope, you might be tempted to detach yourself from the situation and grow distant and unemotional. However, try to stay present. It's all part of teaching you an important lesson. I've got to say, things have not been hectic. Probably the one word that I would have not used in the last 12 months is hectic. So I don't really know where they thought that was going to happen. But anyway, maybe it's more relevant to you than it is to me. Maybe there's a Virgo that's listening to this going, yeah, you're right, that week was hectic and I do need to stay present. That's great. If that worked for you, wonderful. Or maybe you're not a Virgo and it worked for you. I don't really know how it works. Okay, so BuzzFeed quiz. I found one that's going to be, it's just a silly thing. I want to know which scent perfectly matches your personality. Just answer a few simple questions to find out. That's the headline. So I've got to choose something smelly, apparently. And it's scent as in SCENT. So yeah, it's what smell suits me. They're going to know that through a quiz, apparently. So I've got to choose something smelly. My options are garlic, cheese, shoes, socks, chlorine, and fireworks. Fireworks smelly? Oh, I presume they must be with the gunpowder. Well, I'm not choosing socks, that's for sure, and I'm not choosing shoes because I know what my shoes smell like. I do like cheese, and I love garlic. I like cheese. I do really like cheese. I don't know if I like the smell as much. And I love chlorine, though. Chlorine's a great smell. Reminds me of beaches, of pools, and like holidays, summer holidays. And it's been far too long that I've been on a summer holiday, so I'm going with chlorine. It says choose something sweet. You've got chocolate, cookies, honey, strawberry, whipped cream, and apple juice. I don't really like whipped cream, so I'm not going to choose that. The strawberries are nice, but they don't really smell. Mind you, cookies smell lovely, I've got to be honest. Apple juice, I prefer like hot apple juice with cinnamon. Oh, yummy. But I love cookies. Really do love cookies. So I think I'm going to go with that. Choose something bitter. Limes, matcha. I've got to be honest, I've never had matcha. No idea what it's like. Beer, cranberries, black coffee, and mint. Mint, would you describe mint as bitter? Alright. I do like coffee. I don't really like beer. I don't like cranberries. Never had matcha. And I like mint, but I think it's got to be limes. Because limes just makes me think of like, I don't know, like key lime pie and like a mojito. Yeah, I'm going to go with limes. I like that. Choose something sour. Which I'd like that limes wasn't in the sour list, but alright. Kombucha. Again, never had kombucha. Kimchi. Cherries, pickles, vinegar, and grapefruit. I think it's got to be cherries because I like cherries and I haven't chosen a fruit yet. Oh no, I chose limes, didn't I? They are fruit. Cherries. I think cherries remind me of my mum because she's always going on about Kent cherries and how they're the best cherries in the world, which she's not wrong. They are very good cherries. So I'm going to go with cherries. Finally, choose something salty. Pretzels, bacon, peanuts, popcorn, sardines, and fries. Oh, bacon or fries. Bacon or fries. Popcorn, I prefer toffee popcorn. Other than that, I would turn down popcorn if it wasn't toffee. Peanuts. I like peanuts, but they are very greasy. Not that fries and bacon aren't, but, you know. Sardines, no, don't do anything for me. Pretzels, not fussed. They're just stale bread. I like soft pretzels, not a fan of the salty ones. Bacon or fries, bacon or fries, bacon or fries. Oh, it's got to be fries. Oh, okay, so my scent is lavender. You're the soothing scent of lavender fields. You know how to remain calm even when times get tough. You're curious, caring, and thoughtful. Fascinating. I didn't realise I didn't know BuzzFeed could know me so well just through a little quiz. How fun. On BuzzFeed.com if you want to take that quiz. Enjoy yourself. Let me know what scent you come up with. And as I said, if you want me to do your horoscope, message me. Send us a message if you want your horoscope read, if you want to let me know what type of scent you are, or if you just have some good news that you want to share and some wholesome content that you want to share with me. I will happily look it up, even if it's not something personal. If it's something that you found yourself that you really wanted me to read, then and you wanted to share with the world, then let me know. Send it to thehonestpodcast@outlook.com or go to our Instagram, which is thehonestpod, at thehonestpod on Instagram. I will be releasing this on Friday and I'm hoping to do it either weekly or every other week. Let me know what you think, and yeah, hopefully I'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye.